Good day, ladies and gentlemen. What this movie follows about is, well, fishing flies. Okay, you see this right here? This is a variation of mine. It's a variation of the Royal Coachman, but I call it the Royal Coachman Trude. It's a relatively big fly, but I used it in this demonstration here so that you can see it quite well. I'm sorry about all the birds and wind and noise out here, but the point being is what this file is all about, ladies and gentlemen, is good flies versus bad flies. And I'm going to tell you right off the get-go on some of these store-bought flies. You see this hook right here? Right off the get-go. Let me kind of pull this in a little bit. The problem is you go into some of these places like these big box stores and some of these sporting goods stores that don't care. What you're going to end up with is a fly that's got a bad hook. And what I mean by a bad hook, I mean cheap flies that are tied on cheap hooks. They'll break on you, they're brittle, they're usually made in China, and no, I'm not trying to be racist and all that other stuff. On my particular flies, I always use the best hooks. That's one thing I'm very, very particular about, the best hooks that I can get my hands on. And that's a mark of a good fly right off the get-go. Okay, several other factors here. I'm kind of zooming this in and out so you can see it. Is the proportions of this fly? Are the wings the right shape? Is the hackle right in here the right length? Is the tail the right length? And that sort of stuff. Is the body crammed on there, or is it looking right? You know, because you take like this is a dry fly. This one here is just, like I say, it's an attractor pattern. It's a real gaudy pattern. You know, I don't fish with it too awful much, but there's a few places around Paradise Valley here where this thing is, I've dumped alive, I've jabbed a lot of big lips, so to speak. But the problem is with a lot of these cheap flies that you buy, like I say, down at Wally World and some of these sporting goods stores that don't care, this material that they tie these flies with is not good material. You know, they use inferior material, inferior dry fly hackle, like what's on this head and stuff like that. These are all the marks of a good fly versus a bad fly. And like I say, the proportions, the kind of hook that's used here, because like I say, some of these hooks are very, very cheap and they'll break very easy and all that kind of stuff. But here it is. Here's another real important factor on good flies versus bad flies. And that is the fact that some of these doggone flies, you know, they come offshore. I think this thing's out of focus, but I know it is. Sorry about that, I got ever-changing light. But they're not wrapped. When the tires, when them slave people that they use to tie the fly, when they're wrapping up the fly, they don't wrap up the fly real tight. And almost all them suckers, all these kind of deals where you get, you know, like 3 or 4 flies in a package for $2.79, guess what? They'll fall apart within about 4 or 5 casts. So all of these things factor into what makes a good fly. The shape of the fly, how well it's been tied, the quality of that hook, the proportions of this fly, the materials that are used, the quality of the material, and the care that goes into the fly and all that kind of stuff. And like I say, this is kind of a gaudy pattern here. I realize it's been getting kind of out of focus. I'm working along the Yellowstone River here, and my lighting is weird and everything like that. But it is an attractor pattern. It's actually a Royal Coachman. But years ago, I kind of spruced it up and made a Trude out of it. And this thing has surprisingly got me several really, really nice rainbows in its day. So there you are. These are the things you want to look for. And the only way that you're really, if you're a novice fly fisherman and whatnot have you, the only way that you're going to get good flies is if you either get them from a guy like myself, you know, somebody that knows what they're doing, or if you tie them yourself. Because some of this stuff that you buy downtown in these sporting goods stores, like I say, it isn't any good. Why spend any kind of money on a bug? You're going to cast it not more than 10 times and it's going to start coming unraveled. And so that's all there is to it. That's really all there is to it, is how well and how much care was put into this bug, and what kind of materials were used. Are they cheap materials, good hooks, etc., etc. Just what I got done saying. Alright then, that concludes my short lesson on good flies versus bad flies. Thank you very much for watching the movie file, and have a nice day.